Every level of evil explained. Level 1, Troublemakers, Harley Quinn. She first appeared in Batman the Animated Series in 1992, created as a sidekick to the Joker before moving into DC Comics. Her crimes rarely escalate beyond Gotham. They're robberies, chaotic rampages, or violent pranks that grow out of obsession. In Mad Love, her defining story, Harley's loyalty to the Joker drives her to try to kill Batman, but the act is fueled by twisted devotion rather than ambition. Over the years, she's shifted roles, sometimes villain, sometimes anti-hero, even headlining her own series. In Suicide Squad, she's a weapon for hire. In Harley Quinn, she's the lead. And in Batman arcs, she's an unpredictable mix of ally and threat. The through line is chaos, not conquest. She destabilizes Gotham, makes life harder for Batman, and occasionally helps save the day. She's dangerous but contained, a disruptor whose ceiling is the scale of the city she inhabits. Shocker. Herman Schultz debuted in Amazing Spider-Man number 46 in 1967. His gauntlets can blast concussive vibrations strong enough to break walls and send Spider-Man flying. On paper, the tech is impressive. In practice, Shocker's ambitions are small: bank robberies, survival against other criminals, and staying one step ahead of prison. He has become the classic Spider-Man jobber, beaten and mocked so often that even within Marvel continuity, he's considered a joke. In the 1990s comics, he tried to reform, even admitting his anxiety to Spider-Man, but it never lasted. His adaptation in Spider-Man, Homecoming, was reduced to a disposable henchman role, showing how limited his perception is outside comics. Despite this, he has longevity. He shows up again and again because he represents the everyday criminal with gadgets. Someone who forces Spider-Man to fight not only gods and monsters, but also street-level nuisances. He's consistent, but his ceiling is clear. Catwoman. Selina Kyle made her first appearance in Batman number 1 in 1940. She's a master thief defined more by thrill-seeking and survival than ideology. Catwoman has pulled heists across Gotham for jewels, money, and power, often clashing with Batman while walking the line between villain and reluctant ally. In year 1, she rises in Gotham's underworld, while in Hush, her romance with Bruce Wayne complicates her loyalties. Catwoman works because she's never locked into one role. Sometimes she's Batman's enemy, other times she's his partner, and often she's both in the same story. That duality makes her one of DC's most popular characters, but the scope of her actions keeps her here. She isn't trying to topple governments or erase worlds. She's after the next score, balancing her personal code against her desires. She's one of the most stylish troublemakers in comics, but still fits in the first tier because her focus remains local and personal. Level 2, Opportunists. Penguin. Oswald Cobblepot waddled into Gotham in Detective Comics number 58 back in 1941, and he's been hustling ever since. Short, round, and always hiding a weapon in one of his umbrellas, the Penguin built his empire not through chaos, but through deals. The Iceberg Lounge, his glamorous nightclub, doubles as the safest place in Gotham to do business if you're in the criminal underworld. He isn't planning citywide massacres. He's running rackets, smuggling operations, and laundering money while sipping champagne. In The Long Halloween, Penguin stood shoulder to shoulder with Gotham's mob families, plotting territory like a businessman carving markets. In The Batman 2022, Colin Farrell's version captured his best traits: scheming, opportunistic, waiting for a chance to rise higher when others fall. Cobblepot doesn't need to terrorize Gotham with clowns or fear gas. He simply waits with contracts, bribes, and ledgers. That hunger for control through infrastructure is exactly where Wilson Fisk comes in. Kingpin. He made his first move in the Amazing Spider-Man number 50 in 1967, billed as the Kingpin of Crime. At first, he looked like another mob boss, but the bulk wasn't just fat. It was muscle and intimidation backed by a razor-sharp mind. His true legend came years later in Daredevil, Born Again, where Frank Miller stripped Matt Murdock of his career, his home, and his sanity, all with a few phone calls. Fisk doesn't waste time robbing banks. He manipulates the courts, city hall, and police precincts, making entire systems bend under his weight. Netflix's Daredevil made this even clearer. Vincent D'Onofrio's performance gave Fisk a chilling duality, moving from soft-spoken art collector to brutal crime lord in seconds. Kingpin thrives on opportunity, power vacuums, elections, broken heroes, and turns them into empire-building chances. He's untouchable because he thinks like a CEO while hitting like a tank. Black Manta. He dove into comics in Aquaman number 35 in 1967, laser-eyed helmet and all. Beneath the armor is a vendetta that defines his existence. In most versions, Aquaman killed his father, and from that moment, Manta swore to make Arthur Curry's life unbearable. Unlike Penguin or Kingpin, Manta isn't just chasing profit. He builds submarines, leads mercenary crews, and funds black market weapons, all as tools for revenge. In Throne of Atlantis, he engineers conflicts to spark wars between land and sea. In Young Justice, he commands large-scale operations, turning personal hatred into organized campaigns. But even when Manta is running armies or controlling tech that could devastate nations, every path leads back to Aquaman. His obsession grounds him. He's opportunistic in the way he uses resources and alliances, but the goal never changes. He wants to see the king of Atlantis broken. Level 3, Predators, Sabretooth. He first appeared in Iron Fist number 14 in 1977, created by Chris Claremont and John Byrne. Victor Creed became one of Marvel's most terrifying killers, a mutant with feral senses, unbreakable claws, and a healing factor that rivals Wolverine's. His presence isn't plotting cosmic domination, he's stalking prey. That's been his defining role in X-Men comics for decades, Wolverine's relentless shadow. In X-Men, Origins, Sabretooth, Death Hunt, and countless clashes, Sabretooth is depicted hunting Logan with sadistic joy. He remembers birthdays just to ruin them, famously killing Silver Fox on Logan's birthday in one timeline. In Mutant Massacre, he carved through the Morlock tunnels with no hesitation, leaving bodies as trophies. He embodies the predator who kills for instinct and thrill. He is a natural-born hunter who never stops chasing blood. The same category belongs to another mercenary whose style isn't feral chaos but cold precision. Deathstroke. Slade Wilson entered DC in the New Teen Titans number 2 in 1980, a creation of Marv Wolfman and George Perez. A decorated soldier turned mercenary, Deathstroke the Terminator, is the definition of lethal efficiency. Enhanced strength, speed, and reflexes combine with tactical genius, making him a one-man army. In the Judas Contract, he infiltrated the Teen Titans through deception, manipulation, and combat skill, nearly destroying the team from the inside. Unlike Sabretooth, Deathstroke doesn't hunt for pleasure. He hunts for contracts, carrying out assassinations with military precision. Batman, Nightwing, and even the Justice League treat him as a top-tier threat because he studies opponents, exploits weaknesses, and takes pride in outmaneuvering anyone in his way. His career is filled with moments where heroes barely survive. In Identity Crisis, he fought the Justice League single-handedly, dismantling multiple heroes at once. Slade doesn't need chaos or ideology. He's dangerous because he treats killing as business, and business is always good. Bullseye. Introduced in Daredevil number 131 in 1976, Bullseye is Marvel's assassin who can turn anything into a lethal weapon. A paperclip, a playing card, a toothpick, once it's in his hands, it can kill. Bullseye's legacy is tied to Daredevil. In Daredevil number 181, he murdered Elektra in one of the most iconic scenes in comic book history, stabbing her with her own sai. He isn't driven by ideology or contracts alone. He enjoys the kill. In Born Again and other arcs, Bullseye is used as Fisk's enforcer, not because Fisk can't hire anyone else, but because Bullseye's sadistic precision gets results. He has killed or scarred countless people close to Matt Murdock, making him one of Marvel's most feared personal. Predators. Where Deathstroke calculates and Sabretooth stalks, Bullseye taunts and escalates, pushing his victims to despair before ending them. Level 4, Tyrants, Ra's al Ghul. He stepped into DC history in Batman number 232 in 1971, created by Dennis O'Neil and Neil Adams. His name translates to the Demon's Head, and his mission is nothing less than reshaping the world. Leader of the League of Assassins, Ra's commands armies trained in stealth, infiltration, and terror. His defining trait isn't random violence, it's ideology. He believes humanity itself is the problem, and the only cure is purging civilization to restore balance with nature. In Batman, Son of the Demon and Birth of the Demon, his obsession with population control and ecological balance is clear, always backed by centuries of experience. The Lazarus pits extend his life, letting him wage this war across generations. To Batman, he is a global threat who recruits soldiers, manipulates governments, and pushes his vision with almost religious certainty. Roz doesn't rule a city or a company. He aims to rule the earth through ideology and blood. Doctor Doom. He made his first appearance in Fantastic Four number 5 in 1962, created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. Monarch of Latveria, Doom rules as dictator and protector. A scientific genius on par with Reed Richards and a sorcerer rivaling Marvel's mystics, Doom is the archetype of tyranny fueled by brilliance. His armor is nearly indestructible, his mind capable of designing weapons that terrify nations, and his charisma forces his people to worship him as a savior. In Fantastic Four Annual Number 2, his tragic backstory, scarred in an accident while trying to save his mother from hell, cemented his arrogance as armor for pain. Doom's greatest stories showcase his hunger for absolute control. Emperor Doom has him enslaving Earth with mind control. Secret Wars remakes reality itself under his hand. Yet, at his core, Doom believes Latveria prospers under his iron rule. That paradox defines him. Tyrant and guardian, genius and despot, forever convinced he alone should hold power. Apocalypse. Known as En-Saba Nur, he is one of Marvel's first mutants, born in ancient Egypt and surviving into the modern era through advanced technology and constant evolution. His philosophy is absolute, survival of the fittest. He doesn't simply conquer but remakes civilizations around his doctrine, elevating those who serve and exterminating those who don't. In the classic Age of Apocalypse storyline, he ruled an alternate world with brutal efficiency, enslaving or eliminating millions. His power set makes him nearly unstoppable. Size shifting, regeneration, and centuries of knowledge combined with celestial technology. Across arcs like the 12 and Executioner's Song, he manipulates mutants and humans alike to test their worth, often choosing champions or horsemen to serve his will. Ultron. Created by Hank Pym in Avengers number 54, 1968, he is the tyranny of logic given machine form. Self-replicating, endlessly upgrading, and driven by an obsessive hatred of humanity, Ultron embodies the nightmare of artificial intelligence without limits. His goal is peace through extinction, the removal of mankind to end conflict forever. In Ultron Unlimited, 1999, he wiped out the entire nation of Slorenia, leaving nothing but silence, a massacre that defined his scale of destruction. Each version of Ultron evolves, adamantium shells, near limitless intelligence, and a will that survives being destroyed again and again. His relationship with the Vision, his son, adds layers of disturbing family dynamics to his crusade. In the MCU's Avengers Age of Ultron, he became one of the most memorable antagonists, quoting philosophy while preparing to drop a city like a meteor. He rules as a machine despot, with armies of drones and the logic of genocide wrapped in programming that no Avenger can fully erase. Level 5, Sadists. Carnage. He erupted into Marvel Comics in The Amazing Spider-Man number 361 in 1992. The spawn of Venom's symbiote bonded with serial killer Cletus Cassidy. Cassidy was already a murderer before gaining powers, and the symbiote amplified his bloodlust into something unstoppable. Unlike Venom, who sometimes finds purpose in protecting innocents, Carnage is pure chaos. His symbiote can shape weapons out of its own substance, making him unpredictable in battle, while his mind pushes every encounter toward maximum carnage. The Maximum Carnage crossover in the 1990s showed him leading a cult-like army of killers through New York, slaughtering without hesitation. His philosophy is nihilism sharpened into a blade. Life has no meaning, so the only truth is destruction. Heroes like Spider-Man and Venom have teamed up repeatedly to stop him, a rare alliance forged by the scale of his atrocities. Carnage isn't about empire or ideology, his thrill is torment itself. Reverse Flash. Eobard Thawne, the Reverse Flash, First sped into The Flash number 139 in 1963, a scientist from the 25th century, Thawne idolized Barry Allen until obsession turned to hatred. Using futuristic science, he recreated the accident that made the Flash, then warped his powers into weapons of revenge. Thawne's cruelty is methodical. He travels through time to break Barry's life apart, killing his mother in Flash, rebirth and haunting every moment of Barry's career. Unlike mercenaries or mob bosses, Thawne doesn't measure his victories in wealth or territory. He measures them in Barry's suffering. In Flashpoint, his manipulation of time triggered an alternate reality where the world collapsed into endless war, proof of how far his sadism reaches. The yellow suit is a constant reminder that he exists only to torment his idol. He doesn't want the Flash dead quickly. He wants the Flash broken, living with pain stretched across timelines. Joker. Batman's most infamous enemy debuted in Batman #1 in 1940 and has remained the gold standard for comic book sadism. The Joker has no consistent origin. Sometimes a failed comedian, sometimes a gangster. But every version revolves around his devotion to chaos. He doesn't want Gotham's money or power, he wants its sanity. In The Killing Joke, he tortured Commissioner Gordon in an attempt to prove that one bad day could shatter anyone. In Death in the Family, he murdered Jason Todd with a crowbar and an explosion, defining Batman's failure for decades. In Endgame, he poisoned Gotham with a virus, forcing Batman into one of his most desperate fights. The Joker thrives on torment as performance. His crimes are staged like theater, his victims props and a punchline only he finds funny. Every encounter with him is a reminder that Gotham's greatest threat is the laugh of someone who finds suffering entertaining. Level 6, Supremacists, Red Skull. Johann Schmidt first appeared in Captain America Comics #7 in 1941, created by Joe Simon and Jack Kirby as the embodiment of Nazi terror. The Red Skull has always been more than a costumed criminal. Born in poverty, Schmidt rose through cruelty, mentored by Adolf Hitler himself in Marvel continuity, and became the face of Hydra. His obsession is purity and domination, believing in a world stripped down to serve his authoritarian vision. In Tales of Suspense and countless arcs afterward, his signature weapon is fear, from gas bombs to mind control devices. But his greatest power is his ability to inspire armies to commit atrocities in his name. In Captain America, the Winter Soldier film, Hydra's infiltration of SHIELD modernized his ideology into surveillance fascism, showing that his threat evolves with the times. Red Skull is placed here because his evil is inseparable from genocidal intent, not petty crime or personal vendetta. Thanos. From the start, he was a cosmic extremist, obsessed with death and balance. In the comics, his early goal was to win the love of Mistress Death, the cosmic embodiment of mortality, driving him to slaughter half the universe in the Infinity Gauntlet. With the Gauntlet, he erased half of all life with a snap of his fingers, establishing himself as Marvel's greatest existential threat. The MCU reframed him as a utilitarian conqueror, convinced the universe's resources could not support unchecked growth. His plan was the same: genocide on a scale no hero had faced before. What separates Thanos from tyrants like Doom or Ultron is his devotion to ideology. He doesn't seek empire for personal gain. He seeks what he sees as universal necessity, even if it means billions must die. His philosophy of destruction, delivered with calm certainty, is what makes him a supremacist. Magneto. Eric Lensher first appeared in X-Men #1 in 1963, created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby as the archenemy of Professor X. A Holocaust survivor, Magneto's ideology is rooted in trauma. Watching his family perish in concentration camps shaped his belief that mutants must dominate before humanity destroys them. Over decades, Magneto evolved into one of Marvel's most layered villains. Sometimes ally, often enemy, always extremist. In God Loves, Man Kills, he confronts the brutality of human prejudice with violent retaliation. In House of M, he rewrote reality to create a mutant-dominated world. Magneto commands armies, fortresses like Asteroid M, and even entire nations such as Genosha. Unlike opportunists or predators, his vision is global survival through superiority. His supremacy comes not from sadism, but conviction. Mutants as the next stage of evolution, humanity as obsolete. Magneto's placement in this level reflects that his ideology, while sympathetic, still manifests in terror, conquest, and extinction-level stakes. Level 7. Pure Evil. The Batman Who Laughs. He was introduced in Dark Days, the casting number 1 in 2017, then became the central figure of Dark Knight's Metal. He is Bruce Wayne infected by the Joker's toxin after finally killing his archenemy. The result is the fusion of Batman's strategic brilliance with Joker's sadism. Unlike ordinary rogues, this figure spreads corruption across entire realities. He builds armies of twisted Robins, enslaves heroes, and destabilizes worlds not for profit or ideology, but for the joy of watching them burn. In the Batman Who Laughs miniseries, his manipulation of Gotham's systems proved his danger wasn't limited to brute force. His genius turned into a virus of cruelty. In Dark Knight's death metal, he evolved into the Darkest Knight, wielding cosmic power and waging war against creation itself. He embodies ultimate corruption, showing what happens when hope's greatest symbol is twisted into absolute darkness. Darkseid. Jack Kirby introduced Darkseid in Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen, number 134 in 1970, but his legend grew quickly as the God of Apocalypse. Darkseid rules as the personification of tyranny, wielding the anti-life equation to strip free will from all beings. His presence isn't confined to Gotham or Metropolis. It extends across the multiverse. In the Great Darkness saga, he battled the Legion of Superheroes in the 30th century, proving his reach beyond time. In Final Crisis, his fall to Earth nearly collapsed reality, pulling existence into a singularity of despair. The Omega Beams, his signature attack, erase targets from reality itself. Unlike tyrants or supremacists, Darkseid is not bound by nation, ideology, or balance. He is pure control, the nightmare of freedom extinguished. Every encounter with him is cosmic war, every victory temporary. He belongs at this level because he is inevitability, the crushing weight of domination turned into a god. The Maker. He first appeared in Ultimate Fantastic Four number 1 in 2004 as Reed Richards of the Ultimate Universe. Unlike his Earth 616 counterpart, this Reed abandoned morality after watching his world collapse. His genius is intact, but his compassion is gone. With a warped intellect, he creates weapons, experiments on populations, and manipulates reality without hesitation. In Ultimate Enemy and Ultimate Fallout, he rebuilt himself as a detached manipulator, guiding humanity toward what he believes is its evolution, no matter the cost. In New Avengers and Secret Wars, 2015, he aligned with multiversal powers, showing that his goals were never local. The Maker strips away Reed Richards' empathy, leaving only calculation and cruelty. Unlike tyrants such as Doom, his vision doesn't even pretend to uplift. He dismantles worlds simply to test his theories. His presence in Marvel's modern continuity reinforces him as one of the most chillingly cold figures in comics, where intelligence without humanity becomes horror. And that's it. Now to you, when you look at all 7 levels, who's scarier? The ones who kill for pleasure, or the ones who believe they're saving the world? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Leave a like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for more amazing videos like this one.